Let's get our guest speaker up here. She decided to leave her area of town in Texas. She said, you know what, Miss Thomas, I'm going to love it. I'm going to take the ACN flag and plant that flag. Boom! It's firm in the ground, and my own love it, lock, stock, and barrel before energy was launched. Now, guys, you don't have to leave your city or town. You can launch right there. Today, start today as this is a fresh day and put your ACN flag in the ground and just take over the town. When I started network market, I wanted to own Sacramento. I was too afraid that somebody else was going to come in my territory, in my backyard where I live, and own it. So I went to work, and I locked it down as much as I could. But here again, I went to work. Without further ado, can we give a warm welcome, none other than the latest and the greatest, Miss Roxann Corralejo, Regional Director. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. Oh my goodness, you guys, I had such an amazing weekend. I know y'all did too. I'm still here in Dallas. I was over here sweating, breathing heavy, trying to move this table so you guys can see this landscape behind me. And you can't because of the lighting. So I'm just going to move my head. I'm just going to stand to the side and y'all will hear me. But I'm still here. It was so great to see every single one of you. And of course, you, Mr. Thomas. I was so thankful to get the opportunity to just hang out with you for a little bit while I was there. I really was disappointed I didn't get a chance to get my team and you together at the same time, but we will definitely work that out in Ohio, in Cleveland. We are already pumped about that. So I want to take a quick second here and talk to those of you who didn't make it. You said something right now. You said, for those of you who didn't make it, we understand, I think. And I think that was kind of funny because that's the truth of it. We do understand. I want to say I'm understanding of it. Stuff happens. I get it. But then he throws in, I think. And I feel the same way because like, I understand, but. And it's, I understand, but we're entrepreneurs. The definition of an entrepreneur, Mr. Efren Tejada says it all the time, is a problem solver. So if we're sitting and thinking about it, you hear all these leaders, all these senior vice presidents, regional vice presidents, they're on the stage, they're top producers, and they always say, I've never missed a convention. Doesn't matter where it's happening. I've never been. I've always been there. I can't say the same thing. And you will never hear that come out of my mouth because I'm 100% transparent, honest with you guys. And you know that. I cannot say I never missed a convention. Why? For several reasons. It could be lack of belief at that time. Whatever the issue was, there was other stuff going on. I didn't have a team going. But when it came down to it, it kind of was, I just didn't want to spend the money. If I didn't have a team going, one of them I missed was in Oklahoma. I said, why the heck do I want to go to Oklahoma? It is not my ideal place to be. And that's the truth of it. I will say I have missed events, but we hear it all the time. There's either two situations. Either you need the event or the event needs you. And it really is the truth. And I see Deb nodding her head, which is amazing. I just loved being able not to only dance with you on Zoom, but in person. Hey, she's got the moves. So that is the truth of it. And it's so great to see both sides of it. Being in this business for so long, I've seen both sides where I absolutely needed the event. And there was a point where the event needed me, my energy, what we've been doing, what we've been building. So whatever your reason was for not being there, I get it. I do, I think. Because think about what was your excuse. Life happens, kids, family. We had out of Lubbock, just over 20 people that came out of Lubbock who all had the same circumstances, who all had stuff going on, who all had reasons not to go. And the only difference is one word that I've been a victim to. Well, not one word, but one phrase that I've been a victim to several times, not only throughout ACN, just in life. And that's called self-sabotage. Whatever your excuse is, you let it get to you. Whatever the reason why, you talked yourself into why that reason why was more important than being in this environment, more important than seeing the family that you chose, more important than being around positive, open-minded people that encourage you to do better, encourage you to succeed and want to see you succeed above all else. Whatever your reason is and whatever your reasoning why that was more important than being around this is probably why you needed this event. Hands down, why you needed to be here. You needed that environment. You needed that inspiration. You needed to feel Mr. Al Thomas just excited as who he is bouncing around all over the place. Man, every time I turned around and I saw someone, I was like, oh, let me introduce you to Mr. Thomas. I just saw him. Wait, he was right there. Where did he go? Dang it. That's why these events are so important. And self-sabotage happens to us all. I get it. But we need to make that decision. And you hear me talk about that all the time. Once my mind is made up, it is made up. Nothing can change my mind.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way
No
up.
matter what happens in the world around me. And that's what's going to happen. When you make that decision, all of a sudden these things are going to come from all different angles. And it's up to you to set up those blocks to make sure that that does not happen. To start with that Heisman move and say, no, that's not happening. A story about mine that happened 2 nationals ago. When I made that decision to go, I said, all right, I am driving to Baltimore. This was 2 nationals ago before Orlando. I said, I'm going. Got everything. I don't even think I had gotten a room from someone. I just, hey, I'll take over one of your extra rooms. It was kind of last minute planning for me. Anyhow, I made the decision to go and I said, I'm going to be there, but I'm going to drive. I had just acquired a new rep kind of in the area. And I said, great, I'm going to drive to Baltimore. I'm going to make a couple stops. We're going to do some PBRs and we're going to launch the East Coast. I was really excited about that. And then all of a sudden, my reps started backing out. They started not wanting to come to the event. I had nobody at this Baltimore event. And I'm like, all right, nobody on the East Coast that was supposed to be there decided to all cancel and not go for whatever reason. Self-sabotage. They let things control them. And I'm all right. I already made the decision. I'm going no matter what. And then I had told a handful of you that a couple days before the national that I'm supposed to be driving to, I get smashed on the highway and drugged up the highway by a big rig. Totals my vehicle. Now I have no car to drive. I have no plane ticket because that wasn't going to happen. And I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out. But I'm in an immense amount of pain too. Can I sit through this national event? Can I sit in these chairs? Can I be around all these people? Can I even get hugs? That was a hard part. Is I'm a big hugger. I don't even remember who it was. Someone introduced me to someone and like she went to shake my hand and she goes, Heidi's raising her hand. She's like, I know. Someone goes to shake my hand. I'm like, no, we're not handshaking. I'm a hugger. So in Baltimore, I couldn't do that because I was in such amount of pain. I was afraid someone was going to hurt me. It was bad. But then I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm going. I got to figure this out. My car is totaled. I can't take my vehicle. Can't even open the doors. Stuff's falling apart. I got to get into a rental car ASAP. I got to get these insurance people on the phone ASAP. And they said, okay, well, we need to get an adjuster out to you to actually total your vehicle before we get you into a rental car. Great. When can that happen? Well, we can do it next week. That's not going to work for me. I need someone out today. Well, let me see what I can do. I need to no, there's no, let me see. I need it today. Had spent hours on the phone, finally got an adjuster to come out, look at my vehicle, say it was totaled, get into a rental car. Rental car company said, okay, well, when your vehicle's totaled, you only get 3 days. And I said, what? How is that possible? Well, because it's totaled, it doesn't need that time to get fixed. So you get 3 days of the rental vehicle. And then with that, that's your time to shop around for a car. And I'm like, well, I need to be in Baltimore. Like I'm driving to Baltimore. Oh, well, you can't take it that far. I'm going. What do we got to do? We're figuring this out. I don't care what you're telling me. And she's like, well, you just have to make sure you bring it back in 3 days. I'm like, I'm not going to be back. Just give me the keys or I'll take my tools and I'll break into this vehicle myself. I'm taking this car. So it's this whole ordeal. But then one part I actually missed is that in San Antonio, for whatever reason, I'm still in San Antonio at this time, there were no cars available. The enterprise that the insurance company set me up with had no vehicles. They said, oh, well, we don't have any vehicles right now. We'll call you when one's available. And again, I said, that's not going to work. So I'm on the phone. Oh, well, try this place, try that place. Apparently they don't have a system where you can see where all the cars are. I'm on the phone all day calling every single enterprise looking for a vehicle. Call after call after call after call. I can't find one in the whole city, which is ridiculous. And I'm like, something is telling me I shouldn't be at this event. Something is telling me that whatever it is keeping me from this event. Should I listen to that or should I go with my decision? Long story short, y'all saw me in Baltimore. I was there. Like no matter what happened, no matter what the world threw at me, I was there. I was smashed by a big rig a couple days before and I made it to the event. Whatever your excuse is or whatever you're talking yourself out of, there's a way around it. I could not find a vehicle, but I was getting to that event no matter what. And Baltimore set everything in motion. I told you that I had no reps going. I had no productivity at the time. This was not even like the end of last summer. And what you've seen that we've been able to build from Baltimore started from that event. What if this next event you go to starts that momentum for you? And it wasn't just because I found someone out there, it was because I found something in me. I did find someone, I found me. That's what it was. I found that, all right, I need to stop looking for that one and become the one. That's where that came from. I had to become the one because I made that decision and I made it happen. I heard, I don't want to, I'm not going to throw any names. I heard someone didn't make it to the event because of car issues. They don't live very far from Dallas, but they couldn't make it for whatever reason, car issues, and couldn't get a ride. And my first thought is not like, oh man, that sucks. My first thought is, why didn't they figure it out? I have no sympathy for people like that because why didn't you figure it out? Something could have come across. You just weren't committed already. You weren't committed and it wasn't easy. And I promise you, things that are worth it aren't going to be easy. And if you're expecting it to be easy, you're not going to see greatness. And again, that's your fault. That's you self-sabotaging yourself. Get out of your comfort zone. It's not going to be easy. I had a gentleman on my team that made it out there. We have several people that made it out there through circumstances, needed to find sitters. They have kids. They have sporting events, whatever. I had people someone that actually showed up half of Sunday. They missed all of Saturday. They missed the whole morning of Sunday. Stuff came up, stuff got in the way, but he still was dressed and sharp and was there Sunday afternoon, maybe caught an hour or two of the entire event because he made a commitment to be there no matter what was going to happen. He was going to be there. He missed a lot of it, but he was like, all right, I'm here. And he got just a little taste of that environment. And I had a couple people that had that happen to. So I had a gentleman on my team that's been having a hard couple weeks driving back and forth between Texas and New Mexico. His grandfather got really sick. Something happened. His grandfather was in ICU. It was just, it sucked and it was horrible. And we were all there for them. One thing I do want to say about the Lubbock team and the environment that we've just built in our little area has been so phenomenal. Prayers, everyone supporting him, everyone saying, hey, what can I do to help? How can we make this work for you? But everyone just here to support for him. So for him, I was like, okay, I do understand if you can't make it. I get it. Grandfather got sick. Grandfather ended up passing away right before convention. And he still showed up. He is hurting. He is sad. He's grieving. He wants to be around his family, around his loved ones, but he's around us. And he absorbed and got so much from the environment. And he says this all the time. This is a community I did not know I needed. This is the people that I did not know I needed in my life. And so for him, it wasn't that, it was more that he needed the convention. He needed the people. He needed you. And I want to thank every single one of you on this call that was there because he needed you, because you were there. You made the experience for him. And he drove back to Lubbock and he's driving back to New Mexico for the funeral services. So that roller coaster of losing a loved one and then the high environment of our ACN convention, and then to go to a funeral, I know is a rough ride. It really is. But he made that commitment and he was there. So if you weren't there, if you're thinking, I don't know if I'm going to make it to Cleveland yet, figure it out. I'm telling you now, whatever it is, make that commitment, buy your ticket, register now. I registered while sitting there on Sunday afternoon in the middle of the presentation. Why haven't you registered yet? Make that commitment because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to change your life. So what I got from this convention, one thing, I mean, everything was just phenomenal as always, but Greg Provenzano, he has something special in my heart. He gets me going. People are nodding. Heck yeah. He gets me going. I was fired up. So he talked about the 3 Ps. I'm just going to go over to remind you guys, it's not going to be as great of a presentation as what he did because that was just amazing. But he talked about the 3 Ps, protect, persuade, and produce. So the first one was protect. And what stood out to me with protect is protect your mind. And that is so important to me. And I hold that really dear to my heart is protect your mind. I don't watch the news. I don't watch negative stuff. People start talking about negative stuff. And I'm like, all right, I can't hear this. I don't want to hear this. I get it. It's happening in the world. I do not want to hear it. Tell me something amazing. Protect your mind. And he says, you can't hang out. And this hit, you heard the whole room go, oh, you can't hang around sharp people if you're afraid of being cut. You can't hang around sharp people if you're afraid of being cut. Hey, we're sharp. ACN environment is sharp. If you're afraid of being cut, maybe I get why you weren't around. And then he goes on and says, if you're afraid of being cut, you're only hanging around dull people. And that's the fact. And so when I say protect your mind, that's what started my transitioning, is cutting those people out of my life that weren't sharpening me. Cutting those dull people out of my life that always talked about negative things, always gossiping, always had something to say. Oh, you're still doing that thing? Why don't you go out and just get a real job? Excuse me? So I can be stuck like where you are? Didn't you just say you hated your job and you wanted to quit? But you're telling me that I should get a job? Protect your mind. It is so important. If your life isn't adding up, something, you have to subtract it. If your life isn't adding up, there's something you have to subtract from it. And that is hard. That is uncomfortable alone. Is saying, okay, well, what do I know this person isn't right for me, but I've known this person since I was 12 years old. This is my ride or die. Great. So either you're going to come to their level or they're going to come to you. You're making that choice. You either they come to you or you let them bring you to their level. And please, you guys, don't let that happen. I've let that happen so many times in my life, and I've gotten stuck and I had to crawl out of it, because you do not want to bring yourself down, especially in such an amazing environment we had this weekend. Like, you guys, it's not going to do anything if you go home to that same environment. You have to take everything that you got this weekend and take it home to you. Take it home with you. Do not go back into your same circumstances, because these events do make you a better person. It made me a better person. I know hands down why, because I have that belief in myself. It doesn't even matter about the company, about the services, about anything in the world. If someone just came, not even a part of ACN, they will leave as a better person because of what it does to you, that transformation it does to you. And then so the second one, it was, oh, this was a good one. People continue to throw stones at you. So I had mentioned to you guys that I didn't even care what people were thinking about in Lubbock. I just peeked and present, peeked and present, peeked and present, peeked and present. And someone said, oh, wait, you're that girl that's trying to recruit people in the electricity thing, right? And I said, yeah, absolutely. You want to chat? And she goes, oh, no, 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 no. I'm like, okay, no worries. Next, because I did not care. So he said, if people continue to throw stones at you, don't throw them back. I did not try to convince her in any way what a great opportunity this was, because I already knew. He said, collect them and build an empire. And y'all, guess what we did? We collected them stones and built an empire. That is what happened. And man, Greg Provenzano, I'm like, man, everything he's saying is such spot on. And then that was to protect your mind. And then he goes on to talk about persuade. Either you will persuade others or you will be persuaded. I can't say that word for some reason. Y'all need to help me here. By others. So you will either persuade others or be persuaded by others. And that's a fact. That's where I'm saying either they need to come to your level, you need to come to them, or they need to be cut out of your life. And sometimes it's not even by people, it's things that you're doing. It's stuff that you made commitment to. If it's not improving you, it's not worth your time. That's important to realize. I was that yes girl. I said yes to everything just because that's who I am. I love to help and I love to support. But then I realized there's so many things I was doing that I said yes to that wasn't improving me. It wasn't improving my mind. It wasn't improving my heart. It wasn't improving my soul. So what was I doing it for? Because I was asked? Because I was making someone else's life easier and they weren't making mine easier? They weren't providing any value to me whatsoever? Absolutely not. So then when you go into protecting your mind, persuade others, or move on, then he says the next step is to produce. Once you get everything you need, you got to go out there and put in the work. What we have going on, it would not have happened if I didn't go out there and put in the work. Same thing after this event. All the people that we brought to this event, you guys, we had 4 people that hadn't even seen a presentation. Because the last call I said, hey, peak to invite. At this point, I'm not even presenting anymore. I'm just bringing people to the events. I said, peak to invite, peak to invite, peak to invite. That's what we did. We had 4 guests, not even a part of ACN, didn't even know what they were coming to, came to support. Sure, you say there's a party in Dallas, let's go to Dallas. And I had my guest show up, and he's talking to me. He's like, all right, I'm starting to think about all the people that I know, the people that I can talk to, what services I can actually set up. I know these people that have these services. He's already planning, okay, I need 5, I need to get 2. And I'm like, you don't even know anything about signing up. You don't even know the cost yet. You don't know what's going on. But all he knows is I'm going to be a part of this. And that is what we're doing is now we need to produce. Now we need to go into action. So everything that we brought, and hopefully if you didn't make it to this event, you guys were live streaming it and casting it. But now we need to put everything into action because this event did not do anything if you don't take action. Go out and produce. And the first part of that, I will emphasize this again, is sign up for Cleveland right here, right now. Do not let another second go by without making that commitment, because I promise you, if you don't make that commitment now, stuff will come up. Life will get in the way. Things will happen, and you just will not make it happen because you will be self-sabotaging yourself. Don't let that happen. Get committed. Be committed now. Make that decision. Go out there, produce. And I want to see this week, every time Mr. Thomas says anything about who's got what, that chat is blowing up and he can't even keep up with all of your guys' information on who's getting customers, who's peaking people, who's getting IBOs. Because you guys, this was such a phenomenal, life-changing event. We will go back to those arenas. It is going to happen. ACN is coming back after 2020, bigger than any other company is going to do. We are going to blow everybody out of the waters just from the environment that we felt from this event, you guys. So make that commitment, make that decision. Let's get out there and let's get to work.